welcome back. I'm often asked this question, especially from the people in my community. In fact, it's not really a question, it's more like a request, or I think that it's a disclaimer, let's say. And it begins with I want a simple will. I have nothing. I have nothing much, just a house, a few accounts. I have a child who is under the age of 18, but I just need a simple will. I just want to make sure that, whatever I have goes to my child or my children. They're taken care of, and if everything that I own with my wife or my husband. And well, when I die, it goes to them. And when both of us are gone, then I just want all of those assets to go to my child, and that's all I want. It's such a simple thing. Can you not just make me a simple will? And it is a difficult question to answer because I'm not so sure exactly how I want to tell people that there isn't actually anything simple about death. There really isn't anything simple about your loved one grappling with the grief of losing you. There isn't anything simple about any of the assets that you have collected through your lifetime and how you want to distribute them to your child or even to your spouse. There isn't anything simple about it. And because there isn't anything simple about it, there is nothing simple about a will or a trust because a lot of thought goes into it. A lot of thought should go into it. It isn't just about what you own. It isn't just about what you've collected in all of your years. Do you really want to give all of that on a platter to your child at the age of 18? Do you want to give all of that unsecured, unprotected, so that your child is a target for others, so they can make sure that they can leech off them or steal from them or maybe take advantage of just having them get those assets out unprotected? That is not a blessing to your child. That is a curse to your child. There is a lot of thought that goes behind how to make sure that what you give to your child is actually for the benefit of that child and doesn't create harm instead of that benefit. And there's a lot of thought that goes into who the trustee should be or the guardian should be taking care of your child. Because if you're planning for a minor child, and if you're thinking of that what if, the what if I'm gone while my child is still a child, then at that point, there is nothing simple about your plan. There can't be, because there is so much thought that should go into the years of planning of what you have planned, of how you want to raise your child, what you want that child to be as an adult, what you want that child to own as an adult and as an individual, and what you want your child to grow up with, their goals, their aspirations, their ambitions, and how you're going to support them while you're not there. Is there anything simple about that? There isn't. And so when people talk about wanting to do an online will or wanting to get to LegalZoom or NAPLaw or any of those platforms and say, this is simple, all I have is these assets, and I just want to leave them to my loved ones, I just want to ask them, this template, this particular generic letter that you have, is your last love letter. It's your last list, your last set of instructions, your last communication to your loved one, telling them, this is what I want for you. Do you really want somebody else to write that for you in their words, their plan, and what they think fits a million other people? Is that the same plan that fits you? Do you know whether that fits you? Besides that, let's take the sentimentality out, and it can be like, well, she's just talking about all these emotions and all of that. It's just money, assets. I just want to give it to my loved ones. I want to give it to my children. And so what if I want to give it at the age of 18? That's fine, right? But here's the question. When you want to distribute those assets to your spouse, have you ever thought of what you really can distribute as a green card holder or as a US citizen, or on a visa, whether you can ensure that that person, maybe who is in this country because of you on a dependent visa, if you're going to make sure that that person is going to be the executor of your will, if that person is not a US citizen, or a trustee, if the person is not a US citizen, the citizenship status of your executor, of your trustee, the resident status of your executor and your trustee matters a great deal. And it matters for taxes, it matters for deductions, it matters for how things get transferred between spouses and from spouses to children, the specific trusts that need to be created to make sure that there is a trustee who is a US trustee if you want to create a trust, if you have a minor child. And these family dynamics are not thought of when you go online and try to make an online will or a trust. More than that, I have noticed that most people who get these online wills will print them out and then they get them executed by themselves with just a notary, and they don't realize that there is a specific method, a process of getting a will witnessed and notarized. One of the very first lines that I had in probate, right after I graduated from law school, I went to the Dallas Volunteer Attorney Program. It's a great program to get good experience. And they gave me a case of probate that they thought straightforward. It was a will where the sister was the only beneficiary and the brother had died with a will. There wasn't anything except one account and one house. The only thing was that that will was made online. And although on its face it looked just fine, it had appointed the sister as the executor, all assets go to her. There wasn't anything complicated about it. But because the witnesses and the notarization and the self-proved affidavit wasn't done correctly, the judge pushed it back and said this will wasn't valid until I amended the application and actually got the witnesses that had signed that will in court. It took me a year to coordinate everything. The witnesses had gone, they were out of state. I made sure that they were on a Zoom hearing. On the day that they were supposed to be on the Zoom hearing, one of them couldn't show up because technology didn't work. And then we had to reschedule that hearing. And then the judge finally decided everything was fine and appointed the sister as an executor. And then she finally got access to the house and the accounts and managed to do what she needed to do with it. It was a year and a half, close to 2 years, before this was resolved. And it was a simple will, simple assets. It was just not executed right. And from that day forward, I understood and I told my clients, there isn't anything simple about this because you're gone. The thing about anything that you get as a document, whether you get it from an attorney or whether you get it online, if you get something that you've signed and just put on your nightstand and you think it's going to be secure and protect your family, that is false security. And the thing about it is that you don't know whether it will work or not, ever, really, because that is supposed to work when you're gone. When you do your estate plan, it is not for you. It is for the people you leave behind. What you leave behind for them is that stack of paper that's supposed to miraculously work. And if you haven't given enough thought to it, haven't invested in it, and made sure that by the end of it, it's got what it needs, your loved ones are not going to be happy. They're anyways not going to be happy because you're gone. But then they're going to look at that mess that you left behind and they're going to be like, what? What were they thinking? Is that the legacy that we want to leave behind? No, we don't. We want thought. We want to be considerate. We want to make sure our loved ones are taken care of. That's why we do estate planning. So the next time you want to take a shortcut or you want to just tell an attorney, I want something simple, just draft this for me. I'll sign it. It's done. Just think about that. Just take a moment, step back, and think about the hugeness, the actual significance of what you're really doing for your loved one. And then consider that as the biggest gift that you're giving, your parting gift, not just your love letter, but a parting gift, your last gift to your loved ones. And then think about, how do you want to give that? Do you want to give it as a mess in shambles where they have to sit together and put things piece by piece like a puzzle, and half of the stuff is not there because you didn't really pay attention to it? Or do you want to give them something that's like, yes, I've got this taken care of and I can move on, I can grieve, and I've got my things taken care of? So think about that the next time you want an online will or something really simple. And have a wonderful day.